it's Miss Simpson, and it is time for math today. We are moving away from triangles, quadrilaterals, different types of shape, and we're going to start talking about measuring angles and what angles look like. Okay, so you remember that we have three different types of angles: a right angle, an acute angle, and an obtuse angle. Well, we're going to now learn how to measure those and what they look like as part of a circle. So I want to take a look at a circle. So a circle, the whole thing, it measures 360 degrees. Now, the degrees is the units that we use to measure a circle. So if I were to take the circle and completely unwind it, it is 360 degrees all the way around. So if you were to turn from right here and you make a full turn back, that is 360 degrees. So watch me in my chair. If I'm sitting here, I'm facing the computer, I turn, and I come all the way back. I just did a 360 degree turn. And that's how much a circle measures. Now, if I were to take that circle and I were to cut that circle smooth in half, I want to know, what would each part measure? How many degrees are each part? Well, all I have to do is think of what is half of 360, because I cut the circle in half. And you're thinking, whoa, Miss Simpson, that's a big number and I have no idea. Well, I'm going to show you a simple way to figure that out. So there are two parts in the circle, right? 1, 2. So if I take 360, that's my whole circle, and I divide it by how many parts I have, it'll give me how many degrees they each measure. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to review with you how to do a long division problem. So remember, divide, multiply, and subtract. Bring it on down and bring it on back. We start off with dividing, and we think, how many times can 2 go into 3? It can go in there 1 time, right? So then 2 times 1 is 2. So I just divided and I multiplied. Now I'm going to subtract 3 and 2, get 1, and I'm going to bring on down that next number, which is a 6. Now I'm going to divide, and when I divide, I think, how many times can 2 go into 16? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. It can go in there 8 times. So I just divided. Now I'm going to multiply 2 times whatever number I just wrote down, which is 8. And that is 16, which we just figured out. Now I multiplied and I'm going to subtract, and I get 0. And I'm going to bring it on down. This is the easy part because it's just 0. So 2 can't go into 0 any times because there's nothing there. Then I'm going to multiply 2 times 0 is 0. And I'm going to subtract 0 minus 0 is 0, and there's nothing more to bring down. So 180 degrees is my answer. So each of these circle parts are 180 degrees. So let's take a look at another one. What if I took a circle and I divided it into fourths? How many would each part measure? How would I even figure that out? Well, I see there are 4 parts there, right? So I would take my 360 degrees, because that's how much the whole thing is, and I would divide it by how many parts there are, which there are 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead, and I want you to pause the video right now, and I want you to do this long division problem. Divide, multiply, and subtract. Bring it on down and bring it on back. And guess what? We will check your answer when you unpause. All right, so when I'm doing this, I do 4 into 3. 4 can't go into 3, so I put a 0. That's my divide. I'm going to subtract or multiply. 4 times 0 is 0, and subtract 3 minus 0 and get 3. Now I'm going to bring on down that 6. Now it's time to go right back up to divide. 4 can go into 36 9 times. So I do 4 times 9, and that gives me 36. If I subtract them, I get 0. And I'm going to bring on down that 0. And now we're to the easy part, because 4 can go into 0 no times. 4 times 0 is 0. Now if I subtract 0 and 0, I get 0. and there's nothing more to bring down. So you should have got that each part of this circle is 90 degrees. So let's do it with one more, and I'm hoping I got some room here. And let's do 3 parts. So we know the whole thing is 360 degrees. So I want you to pause the video right now, and I want you to solve this problem. How many are each of these parts? Okay, so you should have unpaused, and you should have done 360 divided by 3. So 3 can go into 3 one time, and then I'm going to subtract 3 times 3 is 3, and subtract them. Bring on down that 6. 3 can go into 6 2 times. 6 minus 6 is 0. Bring on down that 0. 3 can't go into 0, so it's 0 times. 3 times 0 is 0, and I subtract them and get 0. So each part is 120 degrees. And that's what that little circle is. That's what degrees. That's how you show me degrees. Okay, so what if they ask you up here, how many degrees is the shaded part? Well, you should say, well, that's easy. The shaded part is just 180 degrees, right? What if they did it with this one and they colored in 3 of these parts? And they asked you, what is the measure of this angle? Using this what is the measure of this angle using the shaded parts of the circle? So what am I going to do to figure out how many degrees these 3 pieces are? Well, I'll tell you. You're going to add them all together. If I add 90 plus 90 plus 90, that'll give me 270 degrees. And that is how many all 3 of these are added together. What if they did this one and they shaded in 2 of the parts? How many degrees are the shaded parts? Well, if I took 120 and 120 and I added them together, that would give me 240 degrees. So those 2 parts together are 240 degrees. So that is one thing that we are going to be working on today. We're going to see if they give me a circle with a shaded part, it looks like it's part of, angles are part of circles. So right here, we have one little section of the circle, and they want to know how many degrees is that one little section. Or over here, they want to know this full section of the circle. How many degrees is that full section? And over here, how many degrees is this full section? Looks like a Pac-Man. How many degrees is this full section? And we do that by using our knowledge of a circle is 360 degrees. And we're adding up all those different parts. So let's take a look. What if they gave you a circle with 5 parts? And I'm going to do my best to draw it. I'm horrible at drawing. What if they gave you a circle with 5 parts and they shaded in 3 of the sections? And they asked you, record the measure of an angle using the shaded fraction of the circle. So what's the measure of this angle? You're like, oh, I don't know. I don't even know how to start beginning to figure that out. Well, let's start with what we know. We know a circle is 360 degrees, right? How many parts are there all together in the circle? Not shaded, just all together. There are 5. So you're going to start out figuring how many are each of the parts, not just the shaded area. We want to know every single one of them. So I'm going to do this division problem. I want you to pause the video and I want you to do this division problem on your own, and then we'll check your answer. All right, so you should have unpaused. So when I'm looking at this division problem, I notice 5 can't go into 3. So I'm going to bring down that 6. And it can go into 36. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 7 times. And 5 times 7 is 35. When I subtract them, I get 1, and I bring down my 0. 5 can go into 10 2 times, and then I subtract my 10, and I get 0. So now we know each of these pieces are 72 degrees. So now that you know what each of the pieces are, you can easily figure out, well, they only want to know 3 of the pieces, 72, 72, and 72. And you can add them up and determine what is the measure of this fraction of the circle. So you should have got 216 degrees for this fraction of the circle. Let's do one on your own. I'm going to draw a picture, and I want you to come up with what is the, record the measure of an angle using this shaded fraction of a circle. Again, guys, horrible at drawing, so please be patient with me. Okay, I want you to figure out what is the measure of this angle using the shaded part of the circle. So your first thing that you should have done was you should have said, okay, let's start with what I know. I know a circle is 360 degrees, and I'm going to divide that by how many parts there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So when I did that, I got 60. So you should be able to do long division right about now. So I did not go through all of the steps of long division. We've done a few problems by now, but I got 60. So each of these are 60, right? So now that I know each of the parts are 60, all I have to do is look at the shaded area and add it up. So 60, 60, and 60, which is 180. So your answer should have been 180 degrees. So what if they asked me to find the measure of an angle that represents 2/4 of a circle? Let me show you what it looks like. Find the measure of an angle that represents 2/4 of a circle, or 5/6 of a circle, or 3/4 of a circle. All you have to do now is they add one more extra step to your problem. So you're going to take that circle, and if it says find the measure of an angle that represents 3/4 of a circle, you're going to draw 3/4. So you're going to draw your picture, and you're going to color in 1, 2, 3/4. And now that you have your picture, you should know exactly what to do. So the only step on here that you're missing is you've just got to draw 2/4, and you've got to draw 5/6, and then you solve the problem. So let's go ahead and solve 3/4, and then I will let you get started on your work today. Okay, so you should have said, okay, well, Ms. Simpson, I know 360 degrees is a circle, and I know there are 4 parts in that circle. And we just did this one, and each of them measured 90 degrees. So then when I got that, I added up my shaded areas, 90 plus 90 plus 90. And that is 270 degrees. So the measure of this shaded area is 270 degrees, the measure of that angle. All right, so for your assignment, you're going to have 2 of these problems and 4 of these problems. So I'm going to give you a hint on this one. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces, and you cannot do 10 into 360 yet. You can't do 2 into 2-digit by 3-digit division. So I want you to, the easiest thing to do would be to count on your fingers all the way up to 360. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200. So that's what I would do to see how many times 10 can go into 360. All right, guys. I love y'all so much. Y'all have a great day and have fun figuring out your math problems. Goodbye.